Hello and welcome to this episode of Kennedy Saves the World. People are still talking about Taylor Swift's most recent album. And it's funny because normally, if you speak bad or badly of Taylor Swift, the Swifties come after you with a vengeance. And it has put the fear of God into the hearts of once credible music journalists everywhere. And so people who love her music stayed up until midnight to listen to the whole thing last Thursday night going into Friday. And everyone was kind of like, meh, because she's put out way too much music in recent years. She could have completely skipped over the Torture Poets department and gone into this album, which might have been the kiss of death for her career, but she could have taken the best songs from TTPD and melded them with a few good songs on the Life of a Showgirl. And that would have been great. She could have called her today, but she can't do that because she has this compulsion to constantly put out new music. And she's won so many awards and so many accolades and has such a secure and deep fandom that she is obviously surrounded by a bunch of sycophants, yes people, who are like, oh my God, this is brilliant. This is literally the best thing you've ever written. Why would you withhold this from the world? Where anyone who has any level of creative output still needs an editor. And I'm not talking about someone who professionally is the boss of you, who can tell you what you have to withhold, but someone in your life who will listen to something and critically and objectively go, you know what? It's not that great. But no one in her orbit will do that because she's very famous for canceling friends. She even has a song on the last of the Showgirls called Canceled, or it's about cancellation. And it is very ordinary, but it's one of the two songs where I'm like, oh, I kind of like this. That and her taking aim at Charlie XCX and implying that Charlie XCX is a big coke. That was fun. So lyrically, the album is substandard. Musically, it's really boring. She worked with Max Martin and Shellback, the team of Swedish producers, again. And because she built it up so much with the different colored vinyls and the different vinyl versions. There were like 24 vinyl versions that fans could buy. And then she has the nards to release 4 CD versions that have acoustic versions of songs on the album. And you're like, God, is that really necessary? So that was the backlash from fans. And there was, in the time that I have been seeing her music and listening to her, I've really only actively listened to her music since Folklore. And this is the first time where I've seen people really actively upset and personally offended because the album is, as I described in the Daily Mail, it's pretty much garbage. And her fans are really upset because in different cities, there were these orange doors with QR codes. And if you scanned it, it would take you to a video that had certain letters, and then you had to put the letters together, and it created a phrase that says something about, the crowd is really the king, blah, 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 which is underwhelming and wordy to begin with. But all of those videos, when you scan the QR code, they're AI generated. And it's like not even great AI because everyone has essentially the same AI tools right now. But if you remember, and this is another reason Swifties are mad, not because they are being bilked out of so much of their money when they already spent thousands, many of them, going to see her on various legs of her Eras tour, thousands of dollars, going into debt to see her on stage, which by and large was a very satisfying enterprise for all parties involved. So I don't feel bad for people who spent a lot of money going to those shows. They knew what they were getting into and they got what they paid for. They were very, very happy. That's fine. That's capitalism. That is you knowingly making a decision to live beyond your means for an experience that you worry you may never live through again. That's totally fine. That I understand.
Don't go anywhere. More Kennedy Saves the World right after this.
But they're also mad that, they can't get the full, like one full and complete deluxe version of the Life of a Showgirl in one place. They have to shell out money because the vinyls are only available for a certain amount of time. And if you don't get them, then they go onto eBay and then they're going to cost 10 times more. And you are like a cult member who has been programmed into thinking that you absolutely have to have 10 versions, vinyl versions of one album that you'll be stuck with that are going to age like buttermilk. Buttermilk in the sun, curdled. Then you have Taylor Swift, who came out in 2024 when there was an AI video of her endorsing Donald Trump. And she was like, Mrs. Anti-AI. And she was like, how dare you? I would never endorse him. And AI is bad and it compromises artistry and we should never use AI because it hurt me. But then when she can use it to her benefit and, just sort of crap out videos in different cities, she's fine doing that when the system benefits her. Now she's like, oh my God, AI is amazing and I should use it for everything. So go back after watching those videos of the orange doors and the QR codes in different cities. Go back and listen to the album because the very first thing I thought, and I listened to it very early in the morning on Friday morning in order to write a critique/review for the Daily Mail. The first thing I thought was, this is AI generated. And I don't think that she skipped out on recording vocals. No. But there are aspects of the production, not her voice. I will absolutely give her credit for singing. I know she can sing. I know she can sing live. I know she sings and writes her own music. That's number one. But if you listen to some of the music, just the way it sounds oddly compressed compared to her past product, it feels like AI. It also feels like a lot of the lyrics were AI generated because, being on tour, being in love, being at high profile events, being under a constant microscope maybe means she was so exhausted she did not have a lot of the personal experiences she did that fueled her adolescent longing and poems and diary entries on past songs. Her life outside of her time on stage might have been really, really boring, which is another reason maybe to withhold an album until your lyrics are reworked and spot on and pristine and emotional and at the same caliber, the same bar you had set for yourself. They are not. And I do feel like some of those lyrics are AI generated. Can I prove it? No, absolutely not. But I've got ears and a brain, as do you. So after seeing some of her AI videos, after she came out so wholeheartedly against it, but then used it in order to create more promotion so she can make more money and keep more people off of charts, it's like, well, why wouldn't she do that? It's like if she didn't quite have the experience and the diary depth that she has in the past, why not just throw a few things to Grok or Chat GPT and see what they throw back? It's this album. That's certainly what it feels like. So, if you're a fan, you're losing a lot of money and you're not as invested. And I know she was very upset when an interviewer this weekend in the UK asked her if she was, there was such an urgency to get this album out because she wasn't going to write or record any more music once she's married. She was like, how dare you? I do think that from now on, unless she goes back and mines those diaries from her late teens, it's all going to be pretty boring stuff like Travis and I were walking the golden retriever. Yes, that's a euphemism for his penis. Yeah. Maybe that's where we're going to get that next time because this time around, the Life of a Showgirl, it's the life of the songs. She talks in father figure about her own penis, and then she spends an entire song, Wood, talking about Travis's tripod. And frankly, it's a little bit weird. It's like seeing Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos talk about boning each other on morning TV. I don't want to be any part of it. I'm happy that people are happy. But can't you do that in the privacy of your own bedroom? All right, do you have to try and compete with Gen Zers by talking about your boyfriend's dong unlocking your thighs? Get a hold of yourself, woman. This isn't 2012. But this has been Kennedy Saves the World. Go ahead and skip the Life of a Showgirl. It's boring. And like I said, it's bouncy slop. I'm Kennedy. Listen ad-free with a Fox News Podcast Plus subscription on Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Prime members can listen to this show ad-free on the Amazon Music app.
Oh, go ahead and leave me a review while you're there. I'd love to hear what you have to say. You've been listening to Kennedy Saves the World on the Fox News Podcast Network.